Welcome to Backlight, where we will be taking you behind the scenes of our investigations at Lighthouse Reports. We are an independent, investigative newsroom working with the world's leading media on stories that serve the public interest. Every month, we will be interviewing a lead contributor behind one of our recent investigations for practical insights into how these are conducted. My name is Beatriz Ramalho de Silva, and I'm a reporter at Lighthouse. Today, I'm speaking to Nicole Vögele, a filmmaker and journalist who was one of the collaborators on our Unmasking Europe's Shadow Armies investigation, which recently won the IJ4EU Impact Award. The investigation revealed shocking visual evidence of the violence asylum seekers face at EU borders. It provided the most detailed picture yet of how illegal and violent pushbacks are taking place in Croatia, Greece, and Romania by masked men. Through forensic examination of these videos captured by the team, they were able to establish how these masked men were actually part of national police units. And in the case of Croatia, the intervention police acting at the border were part of an operation receiving EU funds. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Beatriz.
The first thing that I wanted to ask you is you were part of the team working for months to obtain this footage. Can you speak about your role and the methodology behind the investigation?
Yes, sure. The moment we met, some of us have already been working in the field for some years. So it was like sort of bringing together, let's say, field knowledge that was maybe not so much professionalized. And then on the other hand, really investigative skills. So what some of us have been building up over the time before is like having a big network of locals in Bosnia. This was, I would say, this was the crucial point we made when we were in the field. You come to a certain limit where you see like this is how far you can go alone, especially in a country that is not your home country or is maybe not your home forest. So you can collect geolocation data, like talking to the people on the move who were pushed back, who were after they had their, I don't know, 10th pushback, they were really able to tell us, hey, it was a forest, there was a big stone, there was a river, it must be in this and this valley. So we were slowly able to sort of figure out the exact spots. I think that's what we were able to do, first of all, with talking to the migrant community. But then you go to these spots and you figure out like, well, okay, this is not a spot you can just easy hang out to wait till the next pushback is happening because it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the green border area. Like there are not really places to hide. And as we know, the European external border is like highly surveilled. They have like thermal cameras, they have drones, they have helicopters. So what we also figured out quite fast is we're seen, we're watched. And this is how we started to try to connect with hunter groups and fishermen clubs, but also just the farmers who had their fields next to these border stones. And this took us quite a while because they were like, why should I help a Swiss journalist hiding behind my trees here? Like, you know, they were super skeptical and also, I mean, partly also scared because the Croatian police can be, as we have seen, violent and brutal. And not only like you never know how far they would go. So yeah, there was a lot of, let's say, trust work that was needed to be done. And once this was established, things moved on quite fast because that was like the crucial point, I would say, in the field. So we then had some hunters who we could trust, and they took us, you know, in the morning at 3 a.m. when it was still dark, through a back path to a certain lookout point. So we didn't have to cross the open field. We couldn't have been seen that well by a thermal camera or all of these things. And then it was just a matter of patience. This also led to the point that we were at one point dressing ourselves up as fishermen so that if they would at all see us walking there from, I don't know, from their helicopter or from their high towers on, they would think like, the three Bosnian fishermen are going to fish again in the border river. So they were not alert. And then the other point was also just really leaving our smartphones at home because somehow we had the feeling that we were tracked. And I would like to add on this, I think what was the other very important point was that some of us were starting to do really big open source, like using OSINT tools to sort of find all the social media accounts that we can that Croatian police officers were having, and then also geolocating their postings, which led us again to some more pushback spots.
To find out more about our investigative journalism and how to get involved, do subscribe to our newsletter. You can do this on our website, lighthousereports.com. So, Nicole, you've been working in these border regions and on this topic for years, even before you started working on this investigation. And you've also built a really tight network of sources on the ground. I wanted to ask you, after the story came out, what kind of impact did you see post publication, both locally on the ground and at the EU level?
After this publication, we finally were able to make this point, to make this proof, and to force them to admit that these people you can see in this video beating migrants are members of the Croatian intervention police in that case. And this was the first time, let's say, the pressure was so high that they couldn't go with the narrative of this is fake news or this is a video that they made themselves. Like they always sort of tried to jump out of this public pressure with like really sometimes really clownesque answers. So what we saw on the Croatian level that there was finally quite a big rumble, or so that the interior ministry had to admit that it is their members. They had to say they will start an investigation. They just some days after, they said they found three of these policemen and they've been suspended. But that's also where it in the end stopped, I have to say. So later on, we learned that these three police officers were just suspended for 3 months and afterward secretly put back into job, and that there was never like a big, let's say, criminal investigation done. So it was then also tried to be swept off the table again, because they were playing back then the narrative of the three bad apples. Like, yeah, we are not connected to this. This is really, really bad what has been happening there. And we're super sorry. And we will immediately, take actions that these three police officers were held accountable. And then on the other level, although there was not much, let's say, change in the system, we saw a lot of change in the ground, which was great and which was like really relieving for us. So I've been back in the field a lot of, even after the publication, and the violence nearly, went completely down. I think this is really something, where you can see it was like super great to see in the field that at least this changed.
Since then, you've also been involved in another investigation led by Lighthouse that was published this month about a WhatsApp group run by high ranking Croatian officials. And in this group, border police were exchanging information on apprehensions of people who crossed the border and then were later subjected to pushbacks. Can you speak a little bit about your role there and why this is an important follow up to the Unmasking Europe's Shadow Armies investigation?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting point why our work is for sure it's very important, or I truly deeply believe in its importance, but also it's important not to have a big publication and then change the field again. So we've talked a lot in the group about like staying on the topic already. Let's say we've published already the most shocking video, because it's also important to sort of give them a sign like we're still watching you. Like we were not after one big shout, a huge publication and a lot of awards. We are after watching your fingers. And there it comes into play that if you stay on a topic and you're sort of seen as someone that really wants to change something, then sources show up, or whistleblowers. And exactly this is what happened with these WhatsApp screenshots. So a whistleblower reached out to Lighthouse Reports and said like, hey, I have WhatsApp screenshots from a police group where they're organizing the detention of illegal migrants. I'm sending you these now. I think they prove the pushback systematic. So yeah, for us, it was really great to get another evidence, because I think what this publication that was then afterwards that we were able to build up on these screenshots is another very crucial point, because as I was saying before, the last time the Croatian Interior Ministry said like, oh, these are just three bad apples. We didn't know about that. Like there is no system behind it. And this was WhatsApp group shows like A, how they organize to collect these migrants, but B, that in these WhatsApp groups, there are not just like 10, let's again say random police officer. There is like, they're very high ranking police officer and high ranking people who are in the cabinet of the Interior Ministry, and they are sending, thumbs up emojis to pictures where they say like, hey, we found some 80 Pakistani in the forest and we will transport them now with the vans and more or less push them back. And then they're like sending clap hands and emojis around. So it was like a very, very important next step to show the systematic behind this illegal organization that they are running there.
Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome.
This story was published with Der Spiegel, SRF, Ranchau, ARD Monitor, ARD Studio, Liberacion, RTL Croatia, Novosti, and Pointer. Thank you for listening. Visit lighthousereports.com to read more about our investigation. You can follow us on Twitter @LH Reports.